Squares to Pluto. A square is an angle of 90 degrees, a right angle to the point of origin, when two planets or points are in sharp and challenging angle to each other. A square in astrology is one of the hardest of aspects in that it brings into contact two planets in zodiac signs that are in different genders and elements with nothing in common but plenty in potential conflict. A square links two planetary energies that are not only incompatible but also potentially antagonistic towards each other. Often a square can be seen as two different armies in conflict, where there can be clear indications of both the problem and the solution. But when one of the planets in question is Pluto, issues arise in that it is nothing if not subversive, and that any challenge made directly to Pluto will invariably end in defeat because of its insidious capacity to absorb, consume, and then undermine, to go behind the scenes, manipulate and disempower by nefarious and underhand methods. A square to Pluto can bring up a lot of demons from one's own personal underworld, or it can manifest those demons as being in the individual's outside world. In either case, the square involving Pluto will occasionally force the individual to go head to head with their own notions and ideas of power flowing through their lives, either by dealing with those demons and becoming a person of deliberate and conscious power, or by attempting to suppress and repress those urges. In the latter case, this gradually brings over the years an accumulative degree of internal corruption, moral erosion and self-denial that could easily in time become very self-destructive, as well as many different potential conflict situations with other or others in the individual's life based around vague feelings of disempowerment at the emotional level. It does not matter whether the accompanying elements of phobia, paranoia, compulsion, extremism, or intensity that Plutonic squares can generate come from within the person themselves, or whether they are attracted from others. The problems are still the same, and they need not so much to be beaten or conquered as much as understood and allowed expression within the context of the greater whole. A square from Pluto symbolizes the repression of fundamental urges that, if held in for too long, will eventually break free in a way that can be truly devastating and self-destructive. Obsessive behavioral patterns over a period that lack an element of flexibility or tolerance will eventually implode, resulting in times of crisis and or trauma in ways that are truly life-changing and not normally in a positive or easily dealt with way. Often the anger is not expressed openly, instead repressed, and over an extended period this can lead to serious illness at some level. Alternatively, on the rare occasion that the person is able to detach themselves sufficiently from what is going on around them, and sometimes within them, and observe and act from a totally objective perspective, which with Pluto, of course, is fundamentally yes, no, black, white, etc., the square energy from Pluto can then be utilised in a way that can seem externally ruthless, but nonetheless is seen as extremely efficient and practical, transforming situations around them by taking direct actions or decisions that others balk at. People with squares to Pluto in their chart are not going to be lightweights. They will carry with them a degree of intensity that can easily burn out the more sensitive or gentle people around them at times. But at the same time, they are capable of transforming that intensity into sharp and concise decisions by being absolutely clear with both themselves and with others about where they stand on any particular issue. And there is a positive side to having squares from Pluto in one's horoscope, that being the sure knowledge that no one can lie to these people for very long at all without it becoming obvious. Their ability to ferret out the untruths and the sordid can make them quite scary in other people's eyes, but normally only those with something to hide. This is where the impenetrable Pluto gaze comes into its own, being scarily accurate in determining the truth from the lies. There is no better researcher into buried secrets than Pluto, especially when he's being squared and he has the bit between his teeth. From The Law of Pluto, Reshaping the Void, by me, in all good bookshops worldwide from October the 10th, or signed copies available from me.